Hi and welcome to 3D Print Tech Design. Just in time for Christmas, 3DmakerPro sent over their Toucan 3D scanner for me to review. But since I've been sick, the family have been sick, this video is all that I can manage. So the goal then for this video is to try and test the 3D scanner and all the claims that 3DmakerPro does. This is not my first 3DmakerPro 3D scanner. I know they usually deliver very well on quality of scans, but how is the software, are all the features there? I'm looking at you, 3DmakerPro Eagle. But that all means that there might be some features that I can't try right now, and I'll have to do that in an upcoming video. But this gives you time to ask me questions on what you want to see. The Toucan is among a new generation of 3D scanners that have all the processing power and battery built in. So you don't need a powerful PC or laptop to actually do 3D scanning. This sounds really cool, and I initially thought it was a gimmick, but it turns out that you can actually do all the processing on the scanner. Things might be a bit slow, and the quality might not be as good as if you do it on a computer, but hey, you can transfer the files to the PC as well. The Toucan uses a dimmable structured blue laser. It uses 4 3D cameras, one pair for the near mode that focuses in the scanning on smaller targets, and one set for the bigger far mode that scans larger objects. Additionally, there is one 48 megapixel camera to do textures. I'm really gonna test this on textures in the upcoming video because I'm not sure how well this can actually texture. So you can use 3 modes to track your scanning. You can use either texture that does the RGB and the color data to track the scanner's position as well as the sensors inside. You also have geometry of features where it tracks patterns on the object, 3D patterns. And finally, you can of course use markers as well. These are standard 6mm markers. I usually go with magnetic ones, a link down below. Tracking in general is quite okay. It is an art to do tracking with a 3D scanner, especially without markers. So if your object is kind of on the edge, you might need to use some additional help to get it to track well. There is no hybrid tracking mode with both markers and features and textures. You kind of have to choose either of. Because you have near and far mode, you have 2 different scanning areas. So the smaller one, the field of view, so to speak, is 135 by 185 millimeters. It's quite small. In the far mode, you have 1 meter by 750 millimeters. That's a pretty big area. And the resolution it can capture one frame with is 0.05 millimeter in the near mode, 0.1 millimeter in the far mode. So that's enough resolution for most applications. 3DmakerPro claims the same accuracy for those 2 modes, near and far. However, that is for 1 frame. So when you start adding up frames, you're gonna introduce error of tracking, error of matching materials and processing. But to try and validate some of these claims, I scanned my calibration block. It's a standard 1, 2, 3 block. I used AOE sub to get a scannable surface because it doesn't work very well with shiny surfaces. I also calibrated the scanner, so let's have a look at the deviation. I measured an average of 50.879 millimeters average on the width. That's really impressive because it should be 50.8. That's 0.079 millimeters deviation. That's pretty good. But what's really impressive was the angular precision. So one thing is how exact is 2 surfaces from each other. How exact is an angle is something else. Especially on a turntable scanning on an angle, I think it's really impressive that the angle deviation from 2 sides is only 0.0002 millimeters. Basically nothing. And the same goes for the 90-degree angles between 2 sides. That 90 degrees is supposed to be 90 degrees. It was within 0.0014 degrees. That's really impressive. Good job, 3DmakerPro. But when it comes to scanning a car, for example, and I expect the dimensional accuracy to be a few millimeters or even tens of millimeters. That's from experience, that's not from actually verifying. I don't have a verifiable car model to do those claims. But from experience, you might end up with, if you go around a car, that's a lot of meters traveled during scanning, you might end up with some mismatch at the seam, so to say. For this video, I did not have time to do a proper car 3D scan. I tried it out on my dirty Skoda and the result is actually quite surprising. There's almost nothing to track on, but I still managed to get almost half the car. This is not terrible at all, and in the future video with some extra efforts, for example adding some tape, some paper, something to track a little bit better, even markers for that matter, I think we should be able to scan the complete car. Let me know if you want to see that. A few more interesting specs. Battery is 6600 milliamp hours. It's okay, but you drain it quite quickly doing both scanning and processing. So make sure you plug in the USB-C cable to charge when you're processing. The 32 gigabytes of RAM is actually very good, especially in today's prices that might actually be worth more than the 3D scanner. And for my scanning I have been nowhere near the limits of the RAM use, so that's really good to have a lot of room to grow in, which means that you should be able to scan very big projects without running into issues. It has 256 gigabytes of storage. I think around 50 was used by the software and everything, so yeah. You have a lot of space for project. You can always plug in a USB drive and export from the device. A little bit more on that later. It's not that easy. So let's fire it up and do a complete but simple workflow so you can see how everything works. So this is your home screen. You can see different projects. You can see the time, which is not correct. You have RAM usage. You have some icons here for Wi-Fi, battery, and battery percentage. So 75% at the moment. This is like an ad banner. It displays the different scanners from 3DmakerPro. I really don't enjoy that. Hopefully they remove that, because that feels stupid to have on this kind of scanner. I guess if there were like articles and guides and helpful tricks, tips and tricks, that would be something completely different. You also have if you scroll down, you can see storage, Wi-Fi, calibration. This is where you do that. Screen brightness, power on off, and you also have settings. So settings are, software updates. We have Wi-Fi settings, language models, display brightness, fan. You can adjust the RPM if you wanted to make more noise or less noise. Date and time if you want to set that. Storage, you can see that I've already used a lot of this. I think around 50 gigabytes was used from the beginning. I did a calibration last night, use guide, and firmware, serial number, and all that. If you want to start a scan, which we want to do now, we click on new scan. This pop-up always pops up. So we're using the high power class 3R laser. It is dangerous if viewed directly, may cause permanent eye injury within short exposure. So yeah, this is not for scanning faces with. Then you will go to the class 1R. So if we say understand and proceed, it will start blinking. I'm just looking at the table now, but if I turn this knob, I adjust exposure. You also have, hopefully you can see that, we have a scanning range. This is now in the far mode. We can change to the near mode in here. So then we just swap which cameras are used. We can also get up a range here if I want to adjust how far or how deep we can scan. You also have a base removal tool, which means that if you scan on a turntable, it should helpfully delete everything that is flat on the table. But for scan settings, we have to click over here. You have the different tracking modes, or SLAM modes. Texture, color details, of course, geometry uses the geometric features of alignment, and then markers uses the stickers. So you can choose between them. There is also fixed short, coming soon, and a global marker as well. So then, for example, in this case, we'll use texture to track the object that we're going to scan. We will use color scanning as well. The object type is fairly normal, I would say. We can use the stronger class 3R laser in this example. And we're going to use the near mode. And apply those settings. We get the pop-up again. I understand and proceed. Now we have two fields there. One is for the camera exposure and one is for the object that we are going to scan. So let me reorient the camera and let's do a scan. Okay, so then we basically just click, we align it a little bit better, and we start to scan. I'm using an automated turntable right now, so this is not a complete scan, it's just to show you the workflow. So during scanning with texture, we can actually see both cameras, exposure. I'm gonna move the scanner a little bit, too far, a little bit closer. And you can see the average distance here, that's all the mesh that it's capturing. It's a pretty slow turntable, but it works. There we go. I think I can maybe move it a little bit up to the top, just to capture some of that mesh upstairs as well. Not upstairs, but above. Okay, that should be it. I think that's a complete revolution. And stop. So So we get the opportunity to preview some colored dots here. For what we're doing, I'm going to be happy with this. Again, only to show you the workflow. You can see 473 frames, 75,000 vertex points. So yeah, okay. This is one of the issues now when we click OK. This is a small scan, but it still takes a little bit time here. But let's move over to the top-down camera so you can see everything that I'm doing. So you can see we're using 40% RAM. That's basically nothing. So we get this setting to adjust the point cloud. I mean, you can do automatically reset. I usually just confirm it. I don't have any reason why to increase or decrease that. Okay, so we are now in the menu for processing the point cloud. You can see we have a lot of points actually. This is not the mesh, these are the points. And yeah, there is a lot of details. So this one kind of aligns the view. This one is the cutting tool, so if you want to remove, basically you have to swap between navigation or selecting. But let's just get a little bit closer up here. Select, and then you can see how we are able to select some of the points here to kind of clean up the scan. I really enjoy this little zoom window. That helps a lot because I have fat fingers, so I can't really see what I'm doing unless I have that. We click delete, but you can select inverse selection, you can remove selection, yeah, but basically, I mean, we don't always have to do this. There is processing settings to remove particles around the object, but I like to do this. Complete that. So now we have cleaned up the model a little bit. You can see raw points if we disable the texture. So that looks good, and that's okay. Let's process this. You have the automatic button. I'm not going to use that for now. We're going to use the settings. So now we can see everything in the processing. We're going to start with some noise removal. Then we have fusion settings, which is basically the meshing. Let's go with something reasonable, 0.6 millimeters for this scan, maybe. I don't know. 0.6. Oops, okay. You all have all these settings that I'm not going to go through with you now. I don't have the time. Remove floating parts, that's basically removing noise. We can repair holes. We can also simplify and denoise the mesh. I'm going to go with a moderate noise reduction on the mesh, and I'm going to wait with the texturing because that takes a few more minutes. But you can see right now that we have around 4.5 million points here, so that's a good, decent amount. So let's click apply and wait for all the processing. Okay, so that's the processing. So this is the mesh result of that. I just noticed that I don't think it really filled the hole very well at the bottom, but that's just how it is. So if you wanted to texture this now, you could go in and do everything again here. Just select what you want to do. So for example, just texturing. I'm not going to do that now. This is the complete flow as it is. I did process the texture once again, so I just want to show you how that looks. From some angles it looks really well. The orange is areas where we did not have any texture. But there are also some areas where texturing is not really perfect. Things are offset and looks a little bit weird. I think I tried it enough in the studio. Let's go out and scan a few different types of objects around the house, the car and whatever. And let's do a little bit of a montage. So to summarize my experience, this is a surprisingly powerful all-in-one device. It feels hardware-wise, it's super quality. It feels almost like a Mac. It's really solid, it's really nice aluminum. I should probably use the cover, but the quality and the feel of the material is so nice that I just want to do it like this. The software interface is really good. It's not perfect, but it's really good for being 3DMaker Pro. Usually they are a bit behind on product launches, but I feel like it works. I mean, there are still features that I would like. For example, auto exposure would be nice. You still have to expose the cameras for the scanning that you do, and this can be quite difficult. And it also makes it very difficult to scan both dark and bright objects in the same scan. But that's not a unique problem for this scanner. Most scanners has that issues. There's a few annoying pop-ups about the laser strength. You have two classes of laser. It's 1 and 3R or something. One is supposed to be eye safe, and the other one isn't really. So I get that there's a lot of pop-ups and warning about it, but it's every time. But it is important, so don't scan with the strong one directly into your eyes, please. And finally, I really wish you were able to stop a scan and kind of save it without processing the initial point cloud. That means that the scanner can actually be frozen for a few minutes, up to 5, maybe even 10 if you do a really large project, before you can start the next one or, continue. This is so you can have a bit quicker workflow and process all your scans on the PC later. I actually had some issues transferring files to the PC. It's not that easy as it sounds. The Wi-Fi transfer does not work for me because I will not turn off the firewall. People have it working, but I'm not going to try it. Using the USB-C file, there's no USB memory included, so make sure you buy one. There's a USB-C port alone, so you have to have something with an adapter or similar. It took a few attempts for me. I had to plug it in and out like 5 times to get it to work. But then it worked. And the idea is that when you transfer it to the PC, you actually have all the files, all the raw processing, which is very nice, which means that you can probably end up doing better quality processing on your PC, if you have a good PC. And that's something I will try out in the upcoming video. Scanning quality is definitely in the top segment. Both resolution and accuracy is really good. Again, tracking is an art, so expect some learning curves here to make sure you do it well. It works great with markers and features and textures for me. Sometimes I feel it's a little bit different to choose texture or geometry. I think there should be some hybrid modes. Maybe that's a software feature they could implement in the future. I don't know, maybe. But using things like my 3D scanning towers, linked down below, you have these 5 unique towers you can download and 3D print, and they help with tracking, having unique features so you can track on a turntable or just around your objects. Glue some magnets on those and you can put them everywhere. And if you're going out in the field, make sure you bring some tape, some wrinkled paper, some markers like this, and buy some magnetic markers as well. You can find those in the link down below. This all really helps with solving tracking issues if you start to encounter them. Unfortunately, I have yet to find a suitable person to do personal 3D scanning with. My girlfriend does not want to be on camera, and especially not as a 3D scan. I tried to do a 3D selfie, and yeah, tracking is very difficult when I'm on a turntable moving around like this. The result is mixed. I think the texture was a little bit underexposed, but here's the result. With a stronger laser, which you shouldn't use on a person, especially not with the eyes open, it tracked a little bit better on the dark hair and surfaces. So expect the same issues scanning people as with most other scanners. I feel like the sharpness on the texture could probably be a little bit better. At least for my results, it's mixed. I see some people in the forums doing quite good 3D scanning, but a lot of the scans with textures have a little bit of a softness or a blurriness to them. So we'll see. So with that said, I hope this video gives you some initial ideas about the Toucan, what it can do, how good it is, what it's not perfect on, and what value it can bring for you. Check the links down below if you're interested in pricing. I might have a discount code for you. There's usually some sale on 3DmakerPro or something. So yeah, you can shop it through my affiliate links if you want to. Let me know if you have any questions or anything you want me to try out with this scanner, and I'll try to implement that in the next video coming sometime in the first quarter of next year. Make sure you like and you subscribe. That really helps a lot. And thank you so much for watching. See you guys in the next video. Bye.